Rush hour at one of the cheapest petrol stations in the region. A forecourt full of fillers. But for the owner, busy pumps doesn't always mean bumper profits.
If we want to survive, then we have to be competitive. We make only 3 pence per litre, and sometimes some customers do not want to pay. They will just put some petrol and just drive off. We are making a living, certainly, but we are not becoming mega rich.
So competitiveness is king here, but it's claimed other retailers don't share the same focus. With some forecourts still above £1, even as crude oil crashed below $30 a barrel, campaigners say some petrol stations are unfairly keeping prices high.
It's not being reflected on the forecourts because retailers are quite simply hanging on to their profit margins. You've got diesel particularly, where the average margin in the UK is 11p a litre. And that's not fair. It's not fair on drivers, and it's not fair on the economy because it's stopping growth.
I blame quite simply what seems to me to be a rather too cosy deal between those who are actually producing the oil, those who are shipping it, those who are refining it, and then the wholesalers and the retailers.
But the industry denies greasing its own wheels. Millions of gallons of fuel is stored here at this oil terminal to be delivered to supermarkets and independent petrol stations alike. And the body representing the smaller retailers says, with 30% of them closing across the East Midlands since 2005, there's more pressure on profits than ever.
Our retailers are making more gross margin from selling a bottle of water or a cup of coffee than they are 40 litres of fuel. We want government to look after the independent retailers because at the moment there are so many areas where we are losing out.
So just who is making the money? Well, assuming a litre of fuel is £1, we've already heard this petrol station here is making around 3 pence a litre. 7p goes to the oil distributor and wholesaler, and it costs around 15 pence to turn the crude oil into diesel and unleaded. However, 57.95p goes on fuel duty and 16.7 pence on VAT. So that's £3/4 of your pound going straight to the Treasury. And understandably, motorists here aren't impressed.
That's a bit bad, really, when you think about it. But what else is there to be done?
Because of the price of oil now, it's dropped to its lowest ever, hasn't it? So I think the price should come down even further.
It makes you wonder what they do with it, to be honest, because the roads are horrendous around here.
It all comes out in the wash somehow, so I'm not too bothered.
So many have tasked themselves to tackle the tax. MP Rob Flello sits on the Transport Select Committee. He thinks 75% tax on fuel is unfair and is calling for a cut.
The Chancellor not only takes the duty, but he also takes VAT on the duty. So we're paying tax on the tax, which is outrageous. So at every level, whether it's the motorist we're being hit or whether it's through the supply chain we're being hit.
The government says it expects fuel companies to pass on savings in the wholesale price of oil and gas to motorists. A spokesperson said, "We cut fuel duty by 1 penny per litre in March 2011 and cancelled all further increases until 2015-16. This is the longest freeze in 2 decades. Well, we'll have to wait until March to see if fuel duty will stay frozen or fall in line with prices. But just how low could prices go?
It'll get down to maybe 85, 84p, but not much lower than that because the distributor, the wholesaler, the retailer doesn't have any margin.
So as motorists enjoy a cheaper fill, retailers warn of market misery, while fuel campaigners accuse the industry of oiling its own palm. The question is, just who'll be left counting the cost? Chris Halpin, ITV News.